Black Ops 2 for the Wii U. I'm surprised it even came out. When you think of Call of Duty, the Wii U is probably the very last console that comes to mind. And yet, Black Ops 2, one of the biggest games in the series, wiggled and wormed its way onto Nintendo's struggling system. How? Why? And what was it like? What's up? I'm Jake. I'm waiting for the day Black Ops 6 goes on sale, if it ever does. So what am I doing in the meantime? I'm modding my Wii U and I'm hunting down new games to play on it. Games I never really gave a second or a third glance as a kid. But Black Ops 2 was another game that was added onto my list. I just had to play it. I had to see for myself. Nintendo consoles are an interesting thing to blend with Call of Duty, despite Nintendo's long history of already doing so. The Wii U already wasn't a successful system, nor was it really an excellent one outside of the Nintendo copyrighted gimmicks, and compared to, say, the Switch, the 3DS, and even the Wii itself, this console had a lot less to offer in terms of games. But Nintendo's relationship with Call of Duty goes back as far as the GameCube, when COD 1 and 2 launched. The Wii had way more titles, most of which I'm surprised didn't make a comeback in some sort of reprisal on the Wii U outside of the Wii Virtual Console. I'm sure you guys remember the DS ports of Call of Duty, which were like small, bite-sized games based off of COD. But all of these, at least all of the real COD games, were met with lukewarm reception. The Wii Remote made for a mildly interesting, mildly frustrating, and extremely gimmicky experience. So the Wii U diverted and took away your gyroscope controls, it let you play with a real controller, and it brought the Call of Duty formula back in line with what you would typically expect to see on other systems. But then the Wii U only received 2 Call of Duty games, Black Ops 2 and Ghosts. I'm sure you might have been aware of the existence of a Wii U port. While it was popular enough to have some functional online service, it wasn't that popular. Or I should say, it wasn't as accessible. And that's for one reason. It was a physical release only. No eShop or online downloads. And right off the bat, that hampered its popularity on this system. Not many people were buying the Wii U for Black Ops. You're not seeing it on the eShop store and going, oh, maybe I'll give it a run. Unless you were really looking for it or you just happened to buy a disc copy back when those were more popular in stores, then you weren't really going to play it. Maybe in some weird twist where, I don't remember, 2012, it might have been an exciting point of the Wii U's release, but especially in the later years when new consoles were coming out, people were already barely playing it. It wasn't made any better by this game being already so hard to get. Believe me, I had to look. But for how little this game has to offer in terms of the Black Ops 2 experience, it makes up for it with, well, Black Ops 2. It may even surprise you to hear it, since it's been so long, but Black Ops 2 was a Wii U launch title, which makes sense for the time. The game itself launched on November 12th for the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and just 6 days later, on November 18th, it launched alongside the release of the Wii U. But there are some interesting yet minor discrepancies between the game you knew and loved and this game. While the main console platforms received Nuketown 2025 as a pre-order bonus, along with the other DLC packs, the Wii U didn't get any of that. The Nuketown pre-order bonus was removed from the Wii U just before launch with no real reason, and then later Treyarch gave it back to us through a free update, which also brought along the final Double XP weekend. Before, what do you know? Nada, zilch. You get the base game and you're going to be happy with the base game. But like I said, for what we didn't get out of the experience, we still had something special. If this game has any aura on this system, it's specifically because the game itself was so good. We all lived through the Black Ops 2 days. While servers on older platforms were still up, even if they were full of hackers, the Wii U's servers said bye-bye once the Wii U's online service was cut. Not even the fan-made Pretendo servers support Black Ops 2, and I don't think they're ever planning to. It's stuck in time. The base game, all offline. There isn't, any reason to play this game. But what it lacked in reasons to play, at least it made up for it with charm. For all intents and purposes, this is Black Ops 2. No shortcuts, no turnarounds. You can play campaign, multiplayer, and zombies just like you used to. The campaign was just as good and the same as you remember it being, and I think because it was a solo-focused experience, it helped the Wii U keep up with the demands of that game. The campaign plays great. It's as smooth as it was on equivalent systems, and when I was grabbing footage, I didn't think I would have stayed to play for nearly as long as I did. It's not any different, based on what I found from mine and others' experiences. Now for multiplayer and zombies, you can't play online, which I think is very sad. Even when the servers were still up, the Wii U was far behind its competitors in terms of online infrastructure. But you can still, more or less, get the boiled down experience. I had my brother play with me just last night. We did some one-on-one sniper duels in Nuketown, which, for the record, I haven't done since I first met my best friend like 11 or 12 years ago. And this is something we kind of take for granted these days. All of my COD experiences, especially on the last 2 console generations, were all online. That's kind of the big selling point. You can play with anyone at any time, zombies or just in basic PvP. I forgot that we even used to do this offline local multiplayer thing when I was very little. Now you might notice that this isn't split screen. My capture card was gathering TV footage, but this game took advantage of the Wii U hardware and let one person play entirely on the Wii U gamepad. Now, let me just say, I had low expectations, if any. But the gamepad was a super unique way to connect 2 people in a room on one game. Besides the controls, which were a little mixed up compared to today's button schemes, my little gamepad, which has next to no battery life, poor thing, was able to keep up. It played competently, it played well, and it played with little to no lag. Or if there was lag, it was consistent with the experience of just playing alone on the TV. But freeing up that extra screen made these fights a little less predictable. It made it more personal. There was more nuance to the whole situation. It was fun. Not like split screen was ever that big a deal in the first place, but it kept up and it performed way better than I expected it to. I think it's the Wii U itself that can choke on its own limited resources, as we're going to see with zombies. I wasn't planning to talk about Black Ops 2 the game as much as the Wii U port, but zombies. I grew up playing zombies. I've long held the opinion that Black Ops 3 did zombies the best. Let me tell you something. I forgot where I came from. I forgot my roots. I'm no stranger to OG zombies across any of the games that started it. But coming to play zombies on this game, on this console, in this part of the country at this time of the year, did several things for me. First, this is where I feel the Wii U struggles the most. I can't tell if my memory is doing me wrong. The rounds feel kind of slow, like the console's trying to keep up, the zombie spawns are very sparse, the frames tend to drop, the controls kind of fail you, and at first it was frustrating to have to keep up. But that was at first. Zombies has only gotten bigger and has only gotten better from here. But there is something to the low resolution, sluggish nature of 2012 that adds, if nothing else, charm. And I mean that in the best way possible. The slow spawning created suspense, it lets me simmer for a while, and as I get into it, it becomes fun. I actually had fun. Second, there's some aesthetic confusion that the older consoles create. The better the game looks, the more that has to go into it. But with the larger scope and the struggle for realism, the ideas that these places were initially supposed to convey usually ends up getting a little thinned out, or it's lost along the way. When there is less to work with, technologically speaking, creating and messing with the atmosphere is done in a more narrow scope. There's not as much to have to do. That's really a compliment to Black Ops 1 and 2's zombies as a whole. But even after all these years, when I'm logging into Black Ops 2 on my Wii U and wondering what the hell I'm even going to get out of the thing, I fail to realize what made these games so special in the first place. The slow spawns, sluggish frame rate, and whatever else is present here, it was frustrating to work with, but it created tension. Because frustration is a catalyst for tension, and good tension creates an engaging atmosphere. I had to focus a little more. I had to lean into the pitfalls and learn to work with it. I was rediscovering how to play, where to go, what to buy. And do you know what? It engaged me. It was fun. I kept going back for more and more and more. These downfalls didn't turn me off of it, they turned me on. And that extends to the local multiplayer as well. Even after my brother said his GGs and goodbye, I still kept playing this game alone, and I was having so much fun with it, which is something I didn't expect at all. I would just boot up some bots on a harder difficulty in free-for-all and played all sorts of different maps, and had such a great time slaying out, working with all the things that make it difficult and performing anyway. So, in a sense, these drawbacks that I was hesitant to embrace became challenges that I was proud to accomplish. It wasn't the old online, but it reminded me of the old online. It had the soul of online. It captivated me in a way that I thought impossible and superficial, but when I was in it, it felt just the same as it used to. It was fun. It was slower. It's 12 years old, so what do we expect? Oh, and I'm making this video on November 18th. It's really 12 years old. And 12 years since the Wii U launched. Wowie, wow, wow, wow. Even just this morning, I booted up the gamepad and played a few rounds of Farmhouse. I didn't even turn on the TV, I just wanted to play it on that, in bed. For how rusty I am at this game, it's still a ton of fun. A little Wii U gem, not like it was hidden, and not like there was a lot done to make it different, thankfully. At its core, this is still Black Ops 2, the game that defined an era. Even with the Wii U's quirks, it's proof that great games can transcend limitations. Playing it brought me back to what made this series so special, the fun, the tension, and the connections it creates. Maybe it's a niche port, but it's one that reminds me of why I fell in love with Call of Duty in the first place. And immediately after I make this video, I'm gonna go buy Black Ops 2 on Steam. Thanks for watching.
Max ammo! Double points!